If you've ever dreamed about having passive income and quitting your job one day, you have to start somewhere. And that somewhere is buying your first rental property. But if you've also felt overwhelmed by the process, you're not alone. A lot of people assume you need to be wealthy and highly experienced before you can even think about buying a rental. But it's not true. My first property was a house hack, and it was the smartest thing I ever did. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to buy your first rental property, even if you've never bought any real estate before in your life. I'll cover everything in order, so by the end of this video, you'll understand the entire process from start to finish. Okay, so step number one, you may have already done this, but you need to check your credit score and then maybe build your credit up a little bit. I like to send people to annualcreditreport.com because it's the only official government authorized site where you can check your credit for free. Other non-government sites sometimes have only partial reports, or they try to sell you services and even push subscriptions. So you don't want that or need that. And don't worry about checking it and thinking it'll hurt your score, because it's what they call a soft inquiry. So this is a government site, has all three major credit bureau reports, meaning that's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Look at all three reports and make sure everything is accurate and there are no errors that you should dispute. Now, in an ideal world, your credit score should be 700 or higher, but you can buy with a score that's lower than that. But the higher your credit score, the better loan you're going to get, the lower the interest rate, and an easier approval. So to boost your score, try and pay down your credit cards as best you can, make all your payments on time, and don't open up any new credit cards, loans, or new debt of any kind. Step two, build your down payment. So most rental property loans require 15 to 20% down if this is strictly an investment property, meaning non-owner occupied. But there's another strategy, and I did it myself. While some lenders will will lend you with only 15% down, that's $45,000 on a $300,000 property, you can use an FHA loan with only 3.5% down if you live in the property for at least 1 year. That's only $10,500. This is called house hacking. You buy a property, live in it for a year, and then later convert it into a rental. Many investors actually start this way because it requires much less money up front. In my case, I actually bought a two-family, moved into one of the units, so my upstairs renters were paying market rent to me, and that covered 75% of my mortgage payment. I was living practically for free, and when I moved out a year later and rented out both units, I had major positive cash flow every single month. So you really have two paths: traditional investment property with 15 to 20% down, or an FHA loan with 3.5% down if you live in it first. Both are legitimate strategies. But one quick note, if you only put down 3.5% with the FHA loan, you'll have a premium on your monthly called MIP, or Mortgage Insurance Premium, which can go away one day if you refinance. Step three, now it's time to talk to lenders. Just talk. Don't apply for a loan just yet. This is where many people make a mistake. They immediately apply for a loan. Instead, you want to interview lenders first. Talk to 2 or even 3 brokers or lenders and ask, what loan programs do you offer? What credit score do you require? What down payment options are available? What interest rates are typical? And what kind of rental properties qualify? This is an information gathering stage. You're learning what's available and what you qualify for. Don't commit yet. Think of this like shopping for a financial partner. They will want your business. Trust me. Make them work for it and offer you the best products with the cheapest fees. Some of them will even waive fees, like the appraisal. Step 4. Now it's time to choose the right property type. You have several options: condo apartment, single family home, 2-family, 3-family, and 4-family. So for first-time investors, I usually recommend keeping it simple. Single-family homes or 2-family home structures tend to be the easiest to manage and the easiest to resell later, because condos can sometimes be tricky because of the HOA fees. They reduce the cash flow. There's often rental restrictions and even special assessments for each unit owner. The point is, you have less control with a condo. And a 3 or 4 unit building can be great, but they'll cost more up front and require more experience managing tenants and maintenance. So for your first rental property, I think a single family or a 2-family home in a safe rentable area is the best and cleanest choice. And by the way, unless you're a contractor or have a contracting company, you really don't want a fixer-upper for your first rental. You want something that is rent-ready and stable, because the biggest mistake first-time investors make is buying a property that needs too much work. It's fine if it needs paint or a couple of minor repairs, but bigger repairs or renovation eats up profits really quickly, and they almost always go over the anticipated budget and put you behind the 8 ball, causing a delay in getting paying tenants in there. Step number 5. This is the big one. If you want to choose and work with a real estate agent who really understands investment properties. Better yet, one who's actually purchased them for themselves. Don't be afraid to pepper them with questions. Not every realtor specializes in rentals and cash flow analysis. So your goal is to find a safe neighborhood with high rental demand, positive cash flow, strong resale potential down the road, and minimal repairs needed. So it's absolutely key to have an experienced real estate agent on your team, someone who understands investing, but who also knows where the rental market in your location is at and also where it's headed. And if you're wondering, by the way, how much profit or cash flow a rental property should throw off, I have a great video at the end of this one. So definitely check that out. And please do hit subscribe below for tons of other videos that will definitely help you. Okay, step 6. Now it's time to get pre-approved for that loan, where the lender looks closely at your finances. So what are they looking at? Your income, your down payment funds, your employment history, your credit score and your credit history, all of your assets, all of your monthly debt, and something called your debt to income ratio, or DTI. That compares your total monthly debt, like car loans, student loan payments, to your gross monthly income. And that's expressed as a percentage. So the lower your DTI is, the better. So when you get that pre-approval letter, it shows sellers that you are serious and financially capable of closing. Without pre-approval, most sellers won't even consider your offer. So this step is critical. Okay, step 7. We have arrived at the fun part. You've actually found the right property and you're excited, so it's time to make an offer. There are 2 parts to an offer. There's the price and the terms. Your realtor will show you comps and help you to come up with a reasonable price to offer, but there are lots of terms in a purchase contract. The main ones are the amount of the down payment that you're offering, the desired closing date, the letter or proof that you are pre-approved for a loan, and 2 very important written contingencies. The first is an appraisal contingency that states that when the lender sends an appraiser, and if that appraiser's report shows that the property is not worth the amount you offered, you can back out of the deal, or the seller can reduce the sale price to the appraised amount. And the other very important one is the written inspection contingency. So of course you're going to do an inspection, but the written contingency in the contract gives you the ability to renegotiate if you find issues with the property. If the seller will not make those repairs or lower the sale price or give you cash credit at closing, then the written contingency allows you to back out of the deal and walk away. So step number 8, and the final step, is closing. Here's the timeline. 3 days prior to closing, the title company escrow agent or lawyer, whoever is the designated closing agent, will send you the settlement statement for you to approve. This shows every fee and where every penny is going to lawyers, realtors, buyer, and seller. You'll then get a CTC, or cleared to close letter. Make sure you've already taken out homeowner's insurance, the policy, to start on the actual closing day. Then do the final walkthrough the morning of closing, not the day before. Anything could happen to that property in 24 hours if you don't walk through it on closing day. You could get the keys and show up to a flood, or a tree could have fallen on the roof, and now it's your problem. You bring a check or wire the balance of your down payment and closing costs to the appropriate party, and the lender will wire the mortgage portion of the loan as well. At the closing table, you'll sign a boatload of documents, and once the funds hit the right bank accounts, you'll get the keys, and that transfers ownership from the seller to you. And now it's time to shift your focus to getting the place rented and generating income. So my next video talks about how much profit you should expect on a rental property. So buying your first rental property may seem complicated at first, but when you break it down step by step, it becomes very manageable. Build your credit, save your down payment, talk to lenders, choose the right kind of property, hire an experienced realtor, get pre-approved, make a smart offer, close the deal. That's the roadmap. So if you're thinking about buying your first rental property and you want guidance, feel free to reach out or leave a comment below. And if this video was helpful, please do subscribe for more real estate insights and strategies, and I will see you next time.